Welcome back. We'll start our first conversation this morning, and we are talking petrol. So much happened over the past few days. Is the Petron Refinery still working? What is this collaboration that has happened that has brought down the price of petrol? Who's going to be making sure that those prices stay down across board? And what's generally happening in this particular sector? Well, joining me for this conversation this morning is Dr. Billy Sotubo Gillis-Harry. I hope I got that correctly.
Thank you, you got that.
I got it.
Man, it's very exciting to hear my native name.
Pronounced well.
Yes, it makes me very happy.
Well, Mr. Billy Sotubo Gillis-Harry is the president, the national president of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron. Thank you so much for being with us on the program.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Nigerians, for having me.
So let us start off with that conversation about what's happened, because what we just heard was that the price was down, and then we see that it's down in different parts of the country at different prices. Okay. But just tell us, just so you can give us some idea, because what I heard from your office was that this was some kind of collaboration. This meeting happened earlier in the month, and it led to this reduction in the price. But just so we can get an understanding of what's happened in this collaboration between Petron and Dangote Refinery.
Well, the collaboration of, trading partnership, as I want to call it, is already started. Recall that Petron was very, very happy and congratulated Dangote for coming on the stream. So we are in the forefront of those who were advocating for local refining to be the focus of how we can be able to afford petroleum products and also make sure that we do not have challenges of availability. But of course, it took a little while for us to have that strategic meeting. And when we had it, we found out that Dangote had very good plans for Nigerians. And we were very proud. His EVP, Mr. Edwin, led that team with a lot of other directors. And we came to terms with how we are going to trade. We are owing them the process of how to conclude the transactions and exactly how we want to do. But our members are already patronizing Dangote, both for diesel and for PMS, and we are very proud of that. To some extent, I think also encourage this type of petroleum product price and review, because in the course of our discussion, we're able to let them know that Petron can also do a feedback system for them. Since that we are grassroots, we can always get back and let them know what is going on in the market. And I think that was very well accepted. We still hope that once all the I's have been dotted and the T's crossed, that we will do a lot better, because we specifically ask for special discounts for our members across the country.
Okay.
And that is working. But beyond that, I think what has accounted for the price, drop in Dangote, according to them, was a gift, for the Yuletide. And for me, that's very heartwarming, and I'm very glad.
A gift to the Nigerian people?
Yes, during the holidays. And in another interview, I was asked to explain that, and I said, well, I'm not a refiner, so I'm not in a position to say so. But if the refiners have said that, and that's what is in the public place, then so be it. That they love Nigerians, one Nigeria. I salute Dangote, even NNPC retail outlet, our traditional partners, who we consistently will do business with, because we have had this bulk purchase agreement signed, with PPMC that translated into NNPC retail, and that's translated to other corporate organizations that's going to be working with us. Besides, NNPCL have also opened a very effective communication line with Petron. And so we are doing the best we can to make sure that we utilize those values to ensure that Nigerians get the better.
I mean, I want you to be able to get those details, really. But, like you said, you're not a refiner. Do you know how long this gift is going to last for?
Well, again, it's difficult to answer. But I think that in our own view, we believe that some entrepreneurial economic factors would have also accounted for that. And among that could be, indeed, a corporate gift, a corporate, joyful giving back, to the society. It could also be the input costs of producing 1 liter of product, being drastically or marginally, reduced. And there could be quite a lot of reason for that, which is why we are very happy that Dangote is responding, NNPC is responding. Actually, we had asked the NNPC review their prices, and before we can say jack in the morning, they had reached out to us and said, look, we're going to reduce the price. And we are happy with the reduction of prices, but more than that is the modality of doing business. For instance, my members can buy from NNPCL one truck, which we cannot easily do with all the other refiners, because we may not have, an individual marketer may not have the capacity to be able to pay for 1 million liters or 2 million liters. But we can always pay for one truck, 2 trucks, 10 trucks, and as the case may be, and be able to take, to our retail outlets and ensure that fuel is available. So the business mechanism also given to us by NNPC is very much appreciated and hailed. And that's why we congratulate NNPCL for a great job that they are doing.
Why are retail outlets selling above 1,000 naira if the price has reduced to that 899?
Well, this price reduction came within a week. And don't forget that petroleum products have been bought from the different refiners prior to this reduction. So this reduction, if you apply it immediately, then it means that, don't forget that some of them bought at 970. A paid transportation cost and logistics that has taken it quite high. So by the time it gets to their retail outlets, obviously it's quite much more than that. And so they must also sell at a profit, minimal marginal profit as provisioned by the PIA. So that's the reason. But I believe from today, when members start loading from both NNPC and Dangote at this new price reduction, it will reflect in the market. But also don't give kudos to some of our members, some of the leaders in Petron, that have done so well, especially in Abuja, or even reducing their prices to below 1,000 before even this announcement. So we don't encourage our members to try to sell products at a loss, because our focus is to serve Nigerians. And the only way we serve Nigerians is that we have the resource to be able to do that. That resource can only be there if we're making marginal profit enough to pay for cost of money and make sure that we continue to do business. So never mind, you'll see the translation of this reduction of prices in the retail outlets, hopefully within a week.
Within this week?
Yes.
All right. So I will go and check because when I saw that 899, I said, why am I paying 1,000? I even asked the person, and the person looked at me and said, Madam, this is not my problem. This is the amount they said I should sell for, which I understood, but you're saying within the week. So that's the explanation. They bought it at a particular price.
Yes.
They still need to make up that money.
No, they just have to. Otherwise, it's going
to be difficult for them. All right. Yes. So you said within the week we should expect
hopefully,
that reduction.
once that product, once that product starts coming, especially with our new arrangement with MRS and Dangote. We had very, very useful discussions with MRS because of the weekend. And we salute them. We thank Dangote and MRS also coming in with a new strategy of how we, Petron members, retail outlet owners can easily be able to assess product and be able to give. And they're giving us all the products, lube oil, diesel, ADAS, AGO, PMS. So it's going to be good times for my members, with the kind of arrangement that Dangote and MRS have made. And I believe that NNPC will also up their game because they are our traditional partners. So regardless of what we do, NNPC is our focus on how we are going to make sure that we deal, because they've been there for us over decades. I became a marketer in 1994. So it's, and I've been working with NNPC. I have the bulk purchase agreement with PPMC, and that's the basis on which NNPC has been dealing with us. But of course, so many things have happened. There's been a lot of shift in the goalpost. From PPMC, it went to NNPC. Now NNPC is doing something else with a conglomerate of companies. But NNPC is still our traditional partners, and they're doing well. They have always consistently open communication with us. And we do hope that we'll have the same kind of communication line open from all the refineries, from Dangote to Edo Refinery, to Aradel, to Niger Delta, to Walter Smith, and all the other refineries that are coming up. So Petron is their traditional partner to deepen their product distribution into all parts of the country.
How is the relationship between Petron and IPMAN? Recently, they said they are an act of parliament and you are not.
Well, incidentally, that information came as a little bit of a surprise to Petron because, you know, you can say a thing for so long and people don't check. But then, when you fact check it, you find out that that's not the real information. The truth is that all the associations, and I don't want to mention the other names, but since you asked specifically about IPMAN, IPMAN is an incorporated trustee, and Petron is an incorporated trustee. We're equal and opposite. We are being approved by the government based on our constitution and the way that we work. Recently, we had quite a lot of discussions ongoing with the entire system, and even the CSA had to write letters on behalf of Petron to quite a lot of agencies. And that tells you how relevant and how useful Petron is. Petron is a major stakeholder, in fact, a very critical stakeholder in the industry. So if there's a claim of anybody being parliament, I think it will be all of us because we are all incorporated trustees. So no one is superior to the other. And as far as I'm concerned, what to do is to serve Nigerians. But more than that, I'd like to give credit to MEMAN. MEMAN came on board in the 2000s. But that is one organization that has assets. They have oil assets. They have vessels. They have storage. They have retail outlets. They have full retinue of the business. And so they are leaders. So in Petron, we consider them our leaders. DAPMAN, ditto. Because, for instance, now, the MRS is DAPMAN member. And they are working and partnering with Petron. So that's the kind of relationship we want to see in the industry. So not anyone, feeling that they have superiority over the other. But I think this must have come out of a little squabble in Port Harcourt Refinery, which is a local issue. Local issue of one of the organizations feeling that the other one should not enter into the depot. And that it was resolved in the course of the week on Monday. So I would have expected that if there was any question along that line, it should have been addressed. Not to talk about who is Act of Parliament, because there is no one that is not an Act of Parliament, because we are all registered by the federal government as incorporated trustee. And so the country, everybody in Nigeria needs to know that and stop, banding stories that are not really correct.
But since you brought up the Port Harcourt Refinery, let's talk about it. I remember the last time you were very vocal about this blending issue. You said there's no fueling, there's no refinery anywhere in the world that doesn't go through that process. We've had many people from the NNPC come on this program explaining how the process works. But what I want to talk about is the fact that the refinery is rumored not to be functional right now. We have heard Mr. Shane say, oh, no, this is false. But we have people who have spoken to those who are around the place, and they're saying, look, since Mele Kyari left this place back to Abuja, the business hasn't been working. Some people believe that it was all a hoax in the first place. Petron, your people are probably there trying to load, am I correct?
Well, we already, right now, as I speak to you, sometimes when I hear some of these stories, I try to wonder, in a digital space such as we have, as information highway that is so efficient, it gives me a little bit of concern why stories are banded in the way that they get done. The refinery is up there. How do you know if a refinery is working? Even if you are not an industry
It's refining and people are able to load, people are able to load product and come out.
No, just hold on. You will see the furnace is burning. That tells you that there's cracking going on. If the refinery is not working, that furnace will not be on. The furnace is on and product is being refined 24/7. That we have not started rolling out trucks into load that does not mean that refinery is not working. Okay,
so you are admitting that you've not been able to load?
No, we have not started loading. But
have you ever loaded?
No,
Petron has Petron ever loaded from there?
Petron has not loaded there.
Okay.
But what has happened is that NNPCL has given us the privilege to go on their portal and start applying for products which they have in other depots. Now, the NNPC Port Harcourt one is already open and ready for working. And I can tell you that I have met with the managers of the depot. I have met with this, which was not there before in the course of the last few decades of years. So now NNPC has already sent in staff that are on ground. So that shows that they are ready for business. Now, but a refinery that has gone through processing and all of that, we don't expect that we will load overnight. Tanker drivers will have their own say. Nupeng will have their own say. Then, of course, Petron will come on board, and other stakeholders that have interest in taking products will come on board. But at the end of the day, NNPCL that has that depot as part of their own business, extension, will let us know when we can apply directly for products from that depot. But that does not mean that the refinery is not working.
Ayo.
Thank you. I would have loved to actually begin from that particular point that you raised. Because Mr. Gillis Harry, first of all, I apologize, I'm unable to pronounce that name the way Kayla did, so you have to forgive me. Maybe I need a recording to be able to master it the way she did. The issues that you have raised, at the end of the day, one of the major things that many people need is to build trust in government, or any government agency at that. Because unless that happens, there is absolutely no way that we can encourage institutional development or advancement of our government agencies, because at the end of the day, that's all we have. So how do you propose we can begin to build that trust? Because, for instance, this NNPCL PH refinery is one of those things that there was a lot of bad news. In fact, I think it was even last week, we heard news making the rounds that which NNPCL had to come out and debunk, that the refinery had broken down because of this or that. So how do we get ahead of that as a people, not as government agencies, as a people, to ensure that we can at least build some trust? It's only organizations such as yours that can help to do that, don't you think?
Ayo, thank you for asking that question. I'm sure you recall that Petron has always asked for transparent communication protocols from every quarter, especially NNPCL. Why we came up with that as a responsible organization is to ensure, that information that needed to be passed to Nigerians be passed in a timely way, in an efficient manner, and in a context and content that's correct. Well, I can tell you that NNPC has improved very drastically on that, at least with Petron. And if Petron that is able to both, praise and also criticize, is in the position to say that that communication parameter has increased and it is working well, and we are also asking for every other refiner to work that way with us, it means a lot. What I want to suggest is that there should be some mechanism of how public information should be passed from the oil and gas, so that the information don't come out looking like it's opaque. Because even to most of us that are practitioners, we ask those questions from time to time. But I can tell you that NNPCL's communication strategy and process with Petron has improved drastically. And so when we talk about issues concerning NNPCL, we are not guessing. We know firsthand exactly what the issue is and what we're talking about. And we hope that that communication line is open and kept alive for the whole, life of Nigerians, even after I have finished my tenure as national president of Petron.
Well, good to know that. But now you have spoken about the two active refineries in the country, at least, the two prominent ones, yes. Dangote Refinery and the NNPCL PH Refinery. Now, of course, there are one or two others up here and there. Now, you have made a statement along the line of competition, how this price reduction is helping competition, so to speak. Talk to us about that. How sustainable do you see that being for Nigerians? On the one hand, you told Kayla the other time that you're not sure how long this Christmas gift is going to last. But right now, we have to consider that the competition is real. How sustainable do you see that being? And how do you think that will help us as a people, as a country, in the long run?
Well, from what we have observed from our, prison point of view, Dangote is going to be rolling out 650,000 barrels per day of refined product into Nigeria. And even if they were to do 30 to 50% capacity on a daily basis, that will be sufficient petroleum product in the country. And of course, that will also excite exports, which we believe that once the domestic needs are satisfied, exports should be encouraged because it's another way of earning foreign exchange that's going to show up and cushion the pressure on our naira, my very good old naira that I so much cherish. Sustainability in this industry will depend on production factors and the size of production. Obviously, NNPC's capacity in producing daily will not be competitive to Dangote, but the fact that, for instance, Port Harcourt can easily serve the System 2E of about 13 states very efficiently and effectively is a welcome idea and is going to be part of the great news that Nigerians will have consistently. But I just hope that the naysayers stay away from saying what is not correct, that the refineries are not working. And of course, the refineries sometimes will have to take a break to do a couple of certification and documentation process. So I do think that we will see better times. Don't forget that from 2023, Petron has been consistent in encouraging all the actors to make sure that Port Harcourt Refinery comes on stage. And we have been very, very vocal in supporting the process and also not just surreptitiously investigating what's going on, but we were given open doors. And that's because Petron has proved to be a very responsible organization that serving the interests of those that are governed and those that are governing, and also the industry. So we were given unfettered access to be able to look at what's going on. And that's why we're able to tell Nigerians that the refineries will come on stage and will come roaring and be able to produce products for Nigerians to use. We also said the same about Warri Refinery. We have not been to Kaduna Refinery, and at some point we'll be able to make our technical team and our business team also to visit. Our aim is that we want to encourage refiners in this country. We have enough members. Petron, by the way, started with just only 80 stations about 4 years ago. Today, we are more than 6,800, 6,700 members. And I'm sure every day more members are coming in. From the Lagos area only, within the weekend, we got almost about 59 new members. So that is something that is ongoing, and we think that with that kind of growth that is designed after the control of NMDPRO, because don't forget, you cannot be a member of Petron unless you have your NMDPRO license. Okay. You must be a licensed retail outlet, and we must see that retail outlet is existing. Now, this is the difference between us and other organizations. We do not accept any portfolio marketer. We accept only those who have licenses to be able to operate retail outlets.
Okay. Well, just one question on the NNPCL part before we move on. I heard at some point our correspondent in PH at the time, while speaking with my other colleagues on one of our programs, was talking about the price reduction of petrol in Port Harcourt in the wake of the resurgence of the lifting of fuel products from the Port Harcourt refinery to the environment. that it dropped from about 1,005 or 1,007 to about barely 1,000 naira, less than 1,100 naira. Is that something you can confirm?
Well, I can confirm to you that petroleum product in that part of the world has been, jumping up and down like a yo-yo. But with NNPC having a very strategic business discussion with Petron and giving us the encouragement that they're going to reduce prices, and of course, since this communication and strategic business meetings have been on, NNPC has reduced price several times. They've reduced price from 1,045 naira ex-depot to 1,030, from 1,030 to 1,020, and from 1,020, they have come down to 899. So, of course, this definitely impacts on the price in the retail outlet. But don't forget that the products that were lifted from this, and truth be told, were strictly meant for NNPCL retail outlets. And so it is very important to note that those changes can and possibly be effected immediately. But also because NNPC was also reducing prices for us Petron members in the depots that where we are taking products from them, we're also able to translate that into our retail outlets. And those are the things that accounted for the drop in price.
Okay. Well, one other issue or criticism of sorts that has come to fuel retailers is that some of them lift fuel in the days of fuel subsidy, lifted fuel from wherever, the depots and all, and they only took them out of the country. And that is why when people go to the various hinterlands where there are fuel stations, there are no fuel there is no fuel at most of those pumps. Can we safely say that with the removal of subsidy, as it were, that those days are gone permanently?
Well, anybody who is, sold to doing crime as a habitual, lifestyle would definitely not change so fast. But Petron has also, in our patriotic zeal, developed a local technology that's called Primus. That's our PCAC project. PCAC is Petron Quality Assurance and Quality Control Mechanism. It is a technology that is designed to make sure that smuggling or hijacking of petroleum products become very difficult. And we are hoping that the government will look at the efficiency of that at some point and be able to use it for what it is worth. I can only say that anybody that's engaged in crime should be brought to the book.
What can you say about the inclusion of CNG in the energy industry in our country? How effectively do you think that will play in energy supply to the nation? How much do you think that will affect business, particularly for your members and others like that?
Well, it will impact Nigeria's energy security very positively. And Petron is very available to submit all of our values to the government and the authorities to be able to work with us. We have had a very, very productive meeting with the MD of the PCNG, and some of those discussions are ongoing. We have been requested to submit a couple of retail outlets that will be used for guinea pigging, pilot testing, if you like. And for us, that is an additional business that's coming. We also have the need to be able to put, electricity charging, portals in our retail outlets, also to be able to serve electronic EV vehicles. So all of these energy provision is something that we encourage and we should do. And I think Petron is very, very competent and capable and willing, patriotically, to be of service to Nigerians and to the government.
Now, one of the issues that you have raised from time to time, Mr. Gillis-Harris, is that of a privatization of government-owned refineries. With the refinery in Port Harcourt on stream now, 60,000 barrels per day, and the 150,000 barrels per day also coming on stream shortly, which will add everything to 210 1,000 barrels per day. Do you still hold that position that that refinery should be privatized, or you think there is a way that government can manage it in a way that it can sustain productivity for a very long time?
Every business I know in my growing up days to today that's run by government is always misunderstood and taken for granted by operators and those who have access to them as their own lagis, as their own cake that they want to take home with. And so government's business has never been stable. And I remember a lot of booming businesses that the government was in charge of in Port Harcourt in the Transamade area when I was growing up. All of those industries have all, been petered off. So I know for a certainty, because I was also president of the Chamber of Commerce. I was president from Port Harcourt Chamber to the South-South Chamber to the National Chamber. I was the National Vice President for 11 years and 7 months. So I know very much some of the values, that privatization could bring. But it has to be done rightly. And so we still encourage the government to privatize. And of course, we're aware that the government has already started the process because they advertise for those who have equity participation abilities to bid for all of these refineries. So we have not heard anything public about it, but we are fully aware that government is also desirous, and we in Petron support that, because that's the only way these businesses can be sustained, and that's how it can work. Think about it. Most of us in Petron today started our business with 10,000 naira. And today we are doing business that's running into millions and billions. So it tells you that the private sector business mind is always there for sustainability and growth. And so we encourage the government to, at all times, also take those models, but consult with us as private sector partners so that we can also help in growing the economy of this country. And that's what I think should do, and we advocate and support that.
I want to get back to something Ayo talked about there, which had to do with the transporting of petroleum products.
Yes.
Do your members, because the conversation came up years ago about having trackers on some of these trucks that load.
Yes.
Do your members have any, is there any plan of such, or do you have any such thing in Petron where your members, the trucks that are carrying, actually have trackers on them?
Well, we have almost everybody that has a truck, for purposes of safety, install their own trackers. But there's a difference between a tracker that can be able to do both volume check, ensure that the tanker itself cannot be hijacked. Because if you have a tracker, it doesn't mean that your product can be hijacked and it cannot be stolen. But with the local technology that Petron has introduced, in addition to whatever that's existed, we call it Petron Primus. Petron is Petron Quality Assurance, Quality Control. And the idea is to make sure that when you lift 1 liter of product from any depot, you must receive 1 liter in your station. And the quality for which you left it after NFDPR has given certificate of quality should be what you should have. And the technology that Petron developed over the course of the last few years is doing both and also tracking. We have now even introduced a new technology that we're partnering with an American company to be able to even see the volume and check it while you can use satellite for that. So even when your drivers get to know that there is an installation that is going to monitor them, they cannot sabotage it. So Petron is actually, on the run to provide efficient services for both the government, Nigerians, and our members. And those who are, subscribed to it, talk about it. Even when we are doing the 3 Ps, Petroleum Product Passport, it was working because some of our members were using it. But for some reason, we had to change to something much more dependable and much more affordable.
So we shouldn't have any issues of any of your members taking products outside the country.
Well, you should not
sneaking them across borders and making a truckload of money.
Well, Petron members, to my recall, have not been involved in any of these things. And the reason is there's a lot of benefit in being a member of Petron. A lot of benefit that a lot of our sister organizations don't provide. So our members take their membership of Petron very seriously, because if there is an infraction and some kind of punitive measure is invoked, it will affect them. And we try as much as we can to educate our members because, my dear, how much money do you want to live life? You just do a service and get satisfaction for doing the service. And that in itself gives you a lot of longer life, less trouble in getting involved in health issues. So we encourage our members to be satisfied with life. That's the first thing you get when you get to become a Petron member.
Before we let you go, do you think that there's some kind of transparency? Is there more transparency needed in the way the NNPCL runs its business? And I'll explain. When it comes to this Port Harcourt refinery, it cost $1.5 billion for it to start running.
Yes.
The money wasn't picked on the street. It's people's money. It's taxpayers' money. So if that amount of money was used to get a refinery running, it's only natural that people would want to be asking questions if they hear some person sitting in his truck outside and say, oh, they've not been loading, I don't know what the problem is. It's only natural that people would want to say, wait, what's really going on here? Is there more transparency needed in the way the NNPC runs at least the old Port Harcourt refinery so we can be able to get answers and not have these speculations? Then we have a situation where the NNPC is always responding to accusations. No, they're lying. It's not true. Well, no, if you had given information earlier, there wouldn't be these speculations. Do you think more transparency is needed?
Well, I do think that, and I do agree with Nigerians asking questions. And there's really no reason why we shouldn't ask questions. In fact, the less questions we ask, the more difficult it will be for us to even repair issues. And again, I come back to the fact that regardless of what we do, we should be satisfied with whatever that is our income to be able to make life what it is. You don't need so many houses. You don't need so many cars. You just need to have just what is useful to keep your life going. We have 75 years, 80. Some of our parents are living up to, my mother is 92, and I'm very grateful to see the way she lives, because she lived her life satisfied with just simple things of life. So Nigerians should ask questions. And there is really no reason why questions should not be asked. But my thing is that while you want to ask a question, please ask productive questions.
Dude, you're not answering my question. Should the NNPC be more transparent?
I'm going to address that. I'm going to address that. Ask productive questions. And NNPC themselves should come clear with what they're doing. For instance, what they're doing with Petron. Petron can beat their chest and say, this one question you asked, we have information. Because NNPC is relating with us. And they are letting us know exactly what Petron members should have, so that we give valuable information to our members. Imagine NNPC going to announce something on TV. Yes, so many people will hear, but how many people will really need that? But if Petron goes to tell our members that this is what's going on with NNPC, it has impact, because at least 5,000 members will respond and hear it and understand it. And so we did applaud NNPCL for the kind of information strategy they have built with Petron. And I hope that it's going to be consistent and continuous, and we should be able to translate it into how business is done, so Nigerians will be the better for it. But as far as transparency, both from the upstream to the midstream to the downstream, I think that we should require transparency, because it's our money, it's our sovereign wealth, and we need to know.
Just so we know how much for petrol again, how much should we be expecting from today? IPMAN said 9.35 per liter.
Well, it will be the same. It will not be any different thing. If we as Petron negotiate to get a better rate, then it will also translate in the decibel for 35. Yes, that's what MRS and Dangote is agreeing with Petron. Okay, so hopefully NNPC's 8.99 per liter will also translate into that, and probably even less. I'll tell you why. Because with NNPCL, all is paid, apart from our logistics from loading bay to our stations, which will now, translate to the landing costs, in our stations. So if we do that for less, and with PTD becoming more efficient, NUPEN getting very efficient every day, it's a lot of things will be for the better for the Nigerian public.
Dr. Billy Sotubo Gillis Harry, National President, Petroleum Production Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria. Petron, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for being with us on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Business Morning on Sunrise Daily is next. We'll be back with more conversation afterwards. Stay with us.